Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me for this episode, Dee Snider of Twisted Sister. This is the full, unedited, untouched, unvarnished interview. Paul Stanley of the rock group KISS went on the record calling Dee Snider a wannabe and a buffoon. Dee replied with a public letter posted on his Facebook. And then, we got this. Dee and I got on the phone to talk about it, and Dee gave me the permission to record the whole thing. And so here, as is, unvarnished, I present to you Dee Snider talking about Paul Stanley of KISS. Take it away, Dee Snider. And now it is recording. I hope you don't mind that I called you back.
I don't care. Nobody. I don't answer this phone anyway. So
Good.
I answered only because I knew it was you.
Because you knew it was me. All right, great. So how do you want to do this? Do we just start and I ask you about the whole Paul Stanley
Whatever you
thing?
want. Whatever you want to know. I woke up this morning. You know me. I'll just start. I can't believe the Twitterverse is exploding. I woke up this morning to like Google alerts galore. Paul Stanley says Dee Snider's wannabe. You know, it's blabbermouth, it's metal sludge, whatever. Everybody, and I'm getting all these fucking emails from business associates and friends. Did you hear what Paul Stanley said? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So I go and read it, and I'm like, seriously, this guy wants to fucking dance. I mean, and it's just so pathetic because, you know, and I covered it in my, you used my letter. I think I very eloquently presented my case. It's just an age-old tactic, you know. You get asked a question and you go with a misdirect, you know. Like he's a wannabe, and like what's that to do with anything? There was a question asked, an accusation was made. You're not addressing that. You're name calling, and then you read it and you go, how really? Where what he calls again? Not bimbos. He calls
buffoons.
Buffoons. What, I mean, if ever a band has had that accusation levied at them their entire careers, it's KISS. So I mean, you're gonna throw the B word at us, you know? And it was just and you want this guy just wants attention, so I'm gonna give it to him. It was just like it was really it was just fun writing a rebuttal, and I said, am I going to say anything? I'll let it slide. And then just the day went on, and it was just more and more Google alerts and more media outlets picking up this tremendous slight, you know, from the god Paul Stanley to this. Well, they don't say nothing. He thinks I'm nothing, but I'm so nothing that everybody is like, what's going to happen next? And so I finally said, okay, and hit send, you know, and I'm quite pleased with the response. I mean, you know, I'm the most dangerous guy in the room. I really got nothing to lose. I'm not continuing. I don't want to keep going forever. I'm building a house in the islands, and I'm going to go disappear. So I'm very dangerous.
Yeah. Now I am recording, so I don't know if you want to use any of the stuff you just said, or do you want to start fresh from now?
No, right. That's why I said it.
All right. So we're on. Okay. Good. So let's just start with that. You have had 40 years of career. You're doing this farewell tour next year, or the end tour, whatever you want to call it.
Also, to be clear, farewell shows, maybe.
Right.
That's if the offers come in, if they're significant enough. I mean, I envision 3 or 4, quite honestly, because it really, you know, it's not going to be a tour. There's not a chance it's going to be a tour.
Right. You've written a book which was exceptionally well received. We're Not Gonna Take It, probably one of the 10 most recognizable rock songs, countless movies, commercials, the whole thing. And for some reason, you're a buffoon that needs attention.
I've got 20-year radio career. I've been on Broadway. I've written a musical that's on its second year. It's going to be up in Toronto. You're in Canada, aren't you? You're in Quebec, right?
Montreal, yep.
Montreal. You should make a trip and come see the Rock and Roll Christmas Tale. So
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, somebody. I've been having so much fun with the KISS Army because you raised the wrath of the KISS Army. I'm like, It's just a bunch of 50-year-olds are going to start coming after me.
Now, I'm assuming the KISS Army is going to be pissed off at me for talking to you, so I got to watch myself, right?
The KISS Army is just it's hysterical. I mean, it's you got to remember, I own the first 6 KISS albums when they came out. I've got the KISS album with Kissing Time on it. I was the guy who ran out to the store and bought the first KISS album because I heard of the buzz because I lived in New York. I lived in Nassau County, which is next to Queens. So there was already a buzz about these guys, you know? And so, like, I was one of the guys who ran out and got the record first. So, I mean, I'm a fan. I've nothing but respect for them, but I made I made a statement that I thought it was insulting to us to have a guy acting like Ace Frehley.
Right.
You know, and I just think I find it offensive. And that's what this is, set all this in motion, this statement of, this fan statement. What kind of fan are you? You know, you don't accept everything the gods lay in front of you. Well, I'm actually one with a brain. But I got off the track. It's just so funny to me. Oh no, so somebody said to me, you aren't even close to the level of Paul Stanley. And I said, a level of intelligence, of charitability, of strength, of creativity. Oh, record sales, the thing that all men are judged by. You can't speak unless you sold the same amount of records as somebody else. It's just another person said, "Dee, you're going to destroy everything you have." I responded, what I have, my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, I'm going to lose all of that because those things that, it's for people, it's amazing what people think matters in this fucking world. And that's why I'm able to be out there, like a gunslinger and, just shooting my mouth off.
Yeah. And of course, your voice has held up, which is very important.
You know what? I wasn't critiquing, and I'm still not critiquing Paul's thing. Although he called me a wannabe, and I said, well, let's rock. I mean, if you wannabe, I mean, I'm ready to go, but let's forego the pyro and the explosions because I think that's become a bit of something to hide behind at this point. And I mean, because KISS is one of the great fucking performing bands of all time. I mean, I remember going to see KISS, the original 4 guys, and like it wasn't just, it was bombast on top of an incredible rock band.
Right.
That's what they were at their core. And that's what Twisted Sister is at our core. Whatever the costumes and makeup and whatever we did, at our essence, we're really, that, we rock. And KISS rock the ED. And I know they're not quite as energetic as they once were, and where I have not lost one step, not one fucking step. And they kind of know it. We did a charity gig together, and with a whole bunch of people, and I smoked everybody that night. And everybody was going, "What the fuck is that guy on?" He's on no drugs, no alcohol, healthy living, eating, working out, exercising, right, and stretching, and a commitment to greatness. That's what he's on.
We even spoke about this when you came to Heavy Montreal last year. There was a lot of like, the Twisted Sister hair band, ha ha ha, and then you played, and everybody went, "Oh yeah, wow, we were wrong. They were awesome."
And they didn't expect it. We're a bunch of old guys. We're in our 60s. Yeah. So, I mean, rightfully so. I look at myself in the freaking mirror and pretty much on a daily basis and go, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, I knew that I was following we're getting a whole thing, but I knew I was following a very different path than other rockers. And I believe that it would, give me longevity as a human being, that, living a healthier lifestyle and not doing drugs and not smoking and no alcohol and not partying and womanizing and working out and eating right and doing all those things I knew. But still, I never expected my wildest dreams to be 60 years old and be ripped and running around the stage like a lunatic. And then I could see women in the crowd literally elbowing their husband and going, and looking at him, pointing at me, going, "What's your excuse? You're 40." So, I mean, but I admittedly, Mitch, I said something, I had the audacity to say something in question, the great Gene and Paul.
Let me question you about that, because you're a businessman. Yeah. You've been in the music business. It's not the music loving. It's not the music we're all friends. It's the music business. You've been in it.
I just said this to Taylor Dane on the phone 2 minutes ago.
And you've been very successful at it. Is there not an argument to be made for brand? I mean, you wouldn't want Coca-Cola to change their logo on another product. You want it to look... Is there not something to be said that the band KISS has to look like the band KISS from the brand that they established in the 70s?
This is their argument. Is it not a fair argument? No, I mean, I don't think it's a fair argument at all. Some KISS tard, I'm not going to call the KISS Army now, because they say the most inane things. And it's like I have my brain cells. It's just I feel like I'm sitting here, I'm smacking a child, and some KISS tard said to me, "Yeah, well, asshole, what about James Bond?"
Right.
And then he continues to get ready. Says, "There's been 7 James Bonds."
Right.
I'm like, yes. And none of them made their face look like Sean Connery or imitated his accent. Right. Each had their own voice and their own face. They had the same name, they played the same character, but they were their own person.
Agreed.
I mean, these statements just are mind-numbing. So, get up there, Bruce Kulick, no problem. Eric Carr, no problem. Vinnie Vincent, no problem. None of these guys. Poor Eric Singer. I don't pick on him because I know you could just tell when he stands there. The boss said, put the makeup on and dye your hair brown, and he's just doing it because that's what they told him to do. He doesn't play like Peter. He doesn't stand like Peter. He doesn't make faces like Peter. He just stands there and he looks kind of pissed off at the world, So, I mean, so it's not even that bad. But with Tommy, he was in a KISS tribute band. Right. He's doing a Gene Simmons, an Ace Frehley impersonation, period. It's a sin. That's my feeling. Okay? Someone else can have their feeling. I'm allowed to have my opinion. I think it's an insult, and it's just fucked up. And I put myself in that situation. Someone would replace me, and they came out and they literally was wearing my makeup and imitating my voice and my body language and my stage performance. I would be very upset. I say, that's fucked up. I have no problem with the band getting somebody to replace me. As a matter of fact, I've been trying to encourage them for years. But
right. But they won't let you go.
What is that?
They won't let you go.
They keep do a Dee Snider impersonation. Not sure who would want to, but don't do one.
But here's where I think maybe some fans take issue, is that they feel that you're insulting Tommy, the guitar player, and Tommy, the person, and Eric, the person, because as a fan of KISS, I think that both of those guys play really well and they complement the band really well and they're sort of keeping the machine going. So I like what they're doing.
Okay.
Are you insulting?
Playing devil's advocate here. Okay.
Fair enough.
You're playing devil's advocate. Hey, okay. Let's take Eric out of the equation because I don't think he's played a drum fill that Peter Criss plays.
But he
probably wouldn't be caught dead
talented.
Playing Peter's drum parts. Okay, so he plays his own thing. He does the same thing with Alice Cooper. All the bands, any band he plays with, he's Eric Carr on drums.
Eric Singer.
Yeah, I said Eric Singer?
You said
Eric Singer. I'm sorry, Eric Singer. He's Eric Singer on drums, very clearly. Tommy, on the other hand, Tommy is playing Ace's parts identically, note for note. And even more insulting, he's moving like him and making faces like him, and then he sings like him. Shock me, put on your black leather. I mean, come on.
Well,
I find it offensive. And there's people who don't, and I guess I find it, I just have this respect for the guys who did it, for the guys who created it and made it. And I've had this discussion before. It's just to me, it's one of the great sins of the audience is that they forget their heroes, and they're just like relegated and they're gone. And I mean, and I had my own. I guess it comes to my own fall. Terrible fall, which I documented in my book, in the 90s, and just being forgotten and just being cast aside, feeling like you're cast aside, and maybe nobody did it intentionally, but the music scene changed and it was like, okay, we're done with you. I mean, I thought I was your fucking hero. I was pretty sure I was at somebody's at some point, and I seem to be forgotten. So I kind of just maybe I'm putting myself in those situations. Maybe unlike other the fans,
right.
Although there's certainly plenty of fans who agree with me. Plenty. I mean, I think. What would you say? Would you say more KISS fans are on my side? When I say my side, I don't mean voting for Dee Snider. I mean agreeing with, hey, not cool, and I would say more are in that camp, or the other way around. More say, hey, it's KISS. It doesn't matter who has the makeup on. And by the way, I would just say, so if Gene and Paul step out and somebody else puts on their makeup, they're going to go see him?
Look, as a KISS fan, I would probably go see if Gene and Paul were out, but they'd have to call it something else. It'd have to be called the KISS Experience or the KISS Broadway show.
No. They call him the Spaceman.
Yeah, no.
It's not the KISS Experience. Is it KISS? Is it KISS? I'm asking you. So if they can replace, why can't they replace all four of them? They can't.
They can't. But Foreigner has replaced all five. And
let's not talk about Foreigner. Please, I get so much trouble talking about Foreigner. But it's just, that's another. The Foreigner thing is speaks to the whole corporate rock world. These faceless bands, where nobody really remembers or knew them or cared about the individuals. Right. Your Kansases and your, I mean, I picked Kansas out of just trying to think of corporate bands, but the name, even Pink Floyd falls under that heading. Roger Waters couldn't believe it when the band just continued on like nothing happened when he left. Like,
or you look at some of the other bands like Kool and the Gang or the Village People who go out and play these shows, and you go, all the guys died 10 years ago. Who are these people? But nobody knows, right? Because brand is bigger than individual.
Right. It's the brand of the song. KISS prided themselves on being like the Beatles, and they were, in that unique, I mean, they used to talk about that, and I'm the original fan who remembers when Gene said, I got my hands from Spider-Man. He said that. He didn't invent the devil horns. He's throwing fucking webs with his thumb put out there. He said it. He's lifting the leg up, Spidey poses. He's an original Spider-Man fan, and me being a Marvel geek, I was like, yes, a rocker who gets the comic book world and gets it. Yes, he's doing Spidey hands. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
But they used to brag that they were like the Beatles. Paul, John, Ringo, George. Alice Cooper wasn't like the Beatles. Nope. Only a handful of bands have that kind of, where all four guys are instantly, you say KISS and, Gene, Paul, Ace and, Ace and Peter, it's like very rare. They pride themselves on that. And now they've taken poor George and Ringo and replaced them with some other guys who are wearing their hair and their nose and copying their shit. Well, again, I want to leave Eric Singer out of it because he's just got he's put donned the makeup, but I could almost bear that. It's Tommy's it's Tommy's tribute band background and continuing his tribute on with the actual band.
and we got to be fair to Eric as well. He was in the Revenge no makeup lineup, and
That's another thing.
right,
Kiss, he is authentic.
right.
He's an authentic Kiss member without no makeup for years. So I mean, he goes predates this. Hey, we're going to put the stuff on. Like I said, I could see it on his face. If they said to him, "Hey, it's your call, Eric," he'd be out of that shit and have his hair back to blonde in 2 seconds. He wants to be Eric Singer because he is Eric Singer. He's done a lot of great work and he's got a lot to his credit.
So let me ask you this question. KISS over their career have been criticized by the PMRC, much like you guys, by religious groups, by Rolling Stone hated them. Why do you think Paul Stanley cares what Dee Snider said in a radio interview in a local market, New York with Eddie Trump? I mean, why is he
It is the oddest thing. It is the odd. I said you are oddly. What was my phrase? My phrase. I don't have my letter in front of me, but for some reason, odd reason, I bother you. I mean, Paul Stanley should have said when Chris Jericho said to him, Dee Snider said blah 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 blah. The appropriate answer for Paul Stanley would be who?
Right, and that's funny, and that's even more disrespectful.
That's funny, insulting to me, shuts the question down. It's like it's the one-word answer says it all. Who?
Right.
All right. Instead, he decides that this guy he wants attention. He's a wannabe who's always wanted to be, and he couldn't be, and blah blah blah. And he's obviously given this some thought. Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of flattered. I think that for some reason, Twisted Sister and Dee Snider in the KISS camp, there's some weirdness. Maybe because we're all from Long Island, from the New York area. That the stories about which they've poo-pooed that JJ was in Wicked Lester for a short time. Right before he left, joined Twisted Sister, Ace joined Wicked Lester, and they became KISS. So I mean, there's that. I don't know.
Was there any animosity from the 80s? Was there any stole a girlfriend or a promoter? I mean, was there anything? I mean, it's as a fan who's followed both.
No, they're
careers.
Always so far ahead of us and so far beyond us success-wise. I mean, that fan is very. We aren't in their league.
Right. Which is fair
we aren't. We're not in their record sales, success, longevity, career, hits, any of that stuff. I mean, to say I'm a wannabe, I think that's a stretch. I think I've done something. I mean, to say that we're buffoons thing is hysterical. I mean, it's pure irony.
Yeah.
But so I don't. Honestly, I don't know. No, there's no stolen girlfriends. We had no interaction.
Right.
Virtually zero interaction. They were so far. They were out there, much to JJ's chagrin, because he's the same age, and it took a long time for JJ to have any success. And here's these guys that he knew, and they're off to the races. They're playing arenas, and we were still playing bars.
Yeah, it just strikes me as odd. I mean, buffoon, okay, you want to argue buffoon, fine, but wannabe just is the strangest term, because a 40-year career with a big, like I said before, we're not going to take it. That's not wannabe. I mean, you've done it.
I have a degree of success. Is it as great as some, as great as this KISS level success? No, it is not. I wouldn't even try to suggest that we're in that same realm. But I have my own career. And my own career involves some music. It's involved radio. It's involved some acting and some It's involved a variety of different things. My career is a different career. I guess people say, how do you hope to be viewed? I hope to be viewed as an entertainer in the end, not as the singer of Twisted Sister. I hope that people will say he entertained us, whether it was his movies or his radio show or his performance on Broadway or his Christmas musical or whatever, that he entertained us. That's my goal in life. So KISS guys have a different goal, and I don't begrudge them anything. Again, as a fan, the problem with them is that I'm a fan who speaks eloquently,
Right.
Intelligently, and people, my voice resonates. So people, I am a voice like Eddie Trunk, where people go, yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Eddie and myself are able to verbalize something that maybe the fans are having trouble put into words, or to make the point. So that may be the rub, because Eddie's, he gets his fair share of guff from the KISS camp, because as an original KISS fan, he's on that side of, I don't like it. I think it's fucked up, and he's very vocal about it, and they've banned Eddie.
Well, yeah,
as you probably know.
Yeah, and I sort of, I'm in the same kind of boat on this podcast I used to do called Three Sides of the Coin. I said Paul sounded great in concert, and I don't know if he's using tapes or whatever, and that got me on the shit list. So.
Oh, it did it?
It did. So unfortunately, I'm on the shit list. But
yeah,
it's okay.
They don't want to be questioned in any fashion. They are like a lot of people, get to a certain level. They don't want any naysaying. They don't want anybody to second guess their greatness or what they've, or their feelings or whatever. And
And I even on my Facebook at one time I said that the lineup I would like to see would be Eric Singer and Ace Frehley, and right then and there somebody from their staff wrote me and said, "How dare you post that on your Facebook?" And I thought, wow, holy fuck.
No shit.
I mean,
no
really?
Shit, really?
Yeah, really. And I was like, wow, I mean, why would you care what I say on my personal Mitch Lafon Facebook, not the podcast Facebook or any other business? And I just thought, wow, that's really, really petty. I mean, that's acceptable. But that said, I love the band. I love the music. I would go see them in a show tomorrow morning. I do want Ace Frehley back in the band, but is there any resolution to this with you and Paul? I mean, at some point, are you just going to get each other on the phone and say, okay, great, we got some good press out of this, ha ha, and let's go for supper? Or is it like, the hell
I've never had a relationship with Paul.
Right.
At all. The first time he, I think, ever spoke to me was in the hallway at this charity show in Vegas we did a few years ago with Alice and Rob Zombie and Vince and Stephen Piercy and the KISS guys. We were all there. And it was like, hey, Paul, hey, Dee, how you doing? That was the first time. The second time is he was coming out of a boot shop in West Hollywood, and I was going into my favorite breakfast place right next door, the Griddle Cafe. And he came walking out, and I came walking in, and I was like, hey, Paul, how you doing? He's like, hey, Dee, what's up? And we stopped, and we talked, and I was kind of shocked that we talked. I was like, yeah, but I was with my kids and my grandkids, and he was like, yeah, I heard you got a musical or something going on. I said, yeah, I wrote a musical, Rockwell Christmas Tale. It's like, oh, shit, wow. Paul actually knows doing something, whatever. But it was cordial, civil. I've heard rumors that that already at that point he has a problem, that he's had a problem with me. Probably mainly, you know what? In fairness to a lot of people, I do shoot off my mouth a lot on my radio show.
Sure,
I live up to my name. I'm snide. I make fun of everybody. I make fun of myself. I like to think that I'm even-handed. But, I've heard that Rob Halford was mad at me at one point for making some gay joke. I got wind of that. That was a few years ago. I literally on the air, I said, Rob, seriously? I said, I wore fucking women's clothing, for God's sakes. I said, if I can't make a gay joke, who can? I said, geez, man, get a thicker skin. But so I've heard, I know Snake Sabo. I've been friends with him over the years, but he's been constantly upset with certain things I've said over the years. So it's I guess I forget the things that I say, and I probably just maybe some people don't forget. They don't think it's so funny.
Right, but there should also be a certain hey, that's deep.
Hold on 1 second, mate. Hold on 1 second. I just got a food delivery here. Hold on.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Mitch, my dinner finally arrived.
There you
I'm
go.
going to have to end this, but
Yeah.
last question or two here. I'm happy to wrap this up somehow for you.
Well, listen, I think we've got everything we need, so we'll let you eat, and of course it's past midnight here. I'm gonna send this up and write it out and put it out unedited as it is, warts and all, and we'll let people judge it as it is, if that's okay
What?
with you.
Yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want. I mean, I guess.
And
I woke up this morning and said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Oh, okay, just let it go." And then it just like kept blowing up all day. I was like going, "Oh, okay, all right." I'm gonna have to say this is too much fun. This is like shooting ducks. What do they say? Shooting fish in a barrel.
Right.
Catching fish. Yeah. So I mean, it's just if you're gonna make a statement. I guess you think about it before you open your mouth. At least I try to, for the most part. I say stupid things.
It is definitely an interesting spectator sport for fans. Like I gotta say, it's
I can't believe the interest in stupidity. Who cares what two fucking old rockers have to say about each other?
If you want to bottom line it, in a sense, yeah. But
this is a new world. This is TMZ. This is Entertainment Tonight. This is more people are more interested in that than the latest KISS release or a Dee Snider release.
Right.
I've got more coverage. I promise you, is going to get more coverage than a new single from either of us.
Which is sad.
It's a sad. You're right. I know. I feel for your sorrow. You're definitely right. Times have changed. It's a magazine world, quick sound bites, and people are just minutia. Are interested in minutia and not creative minutia. Not what makes the band, the music, the art. It's Tommy Lee farted in a restaurant or something, and didn't apologize for it. It's like, aha, that's big news.
It is definitely a brave new world, and at some point we should get back on the phone and talk about the Christmas show and promoting all that wonderful stuff, because you're coming up to Toronto, which is
I'm going to be living up there for 3 months, so I'm going to be honorary Canadian at some point, I guess.
When does that run, by the way? I'll finish on that just so I know. When does that show run?
Rehearsals start. I move up there the middle of October. We start rehearsing a couple days later. The previews, which are that's paid audience, real shows. They start November 17th. Show is opening officially, I think, December 3rd.
Okay.
Can't quote me. Just say first week of December officially opens, and then it runs through the month of December, but it finishes and runs. So it's like 7 weeks at the Winter Garden Theatre in Toronto.
Oh, that's great. So I'll definitely bring the family out to see that. That'll be fun.
Oh, it's totally 7 to 70, blind, deaf, or crazy. People love it. It's great.
It's going to be great. Thank you for getting on the phone at this late hour. Enjoy supper and enjoy the press that, in fact, this interview will help propagate even more nonsense.
Enjoy. I'm getting a real kick out, I'll tell you that. Let's see, what do we got here? I'm waiting on, it's only 99 new notifications. It was 295. I clicked the button a moment ago. That's 99 new ones. So,
it's
right.
Unbelievable. I mean, listen, perhaps it was just a smart PR move on Paul's part because, whatever he might have said might have just been ignored otherwise. Now you've got all the websites talking about it. Twitter is a buzz. It's probably trending. So, perhaps he's just a
my house in the island is nearly finished. Whatever. Okay, man. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Dee. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. My interview with Dee Snider and his audio response to Paul Stanley calling him a buffoon and wannabe. If I can just quickly interject my own opinion into all of this, a man like Dee Snider, who's had a 40-year career, is not a wannabe. Listen, as far as KISS goes, I do think that brand is bigger than band, and I can understand the Ace makeup or the Spaceman makeup and I can understand the cat makeup. I really do think that Tommy and Eric bring something very special and unique to the band. And so, as a Kiss fan, I'm glad that the band continues. That said, I do understand Dee's point of view as well. Uh, it's sort of hard to stay neutral, but I'm sort of neutral. Listen, as a fan of Kiss, I would love to see Ace Frehley, Eric Singer, Gene and Paul make an album and do a tour. With no disrespect to Tommy, not because Tommy's not good or because Tommy's not this or not that, just because I think Ace is playing at such a high level these days. And the few times that that lineup, toured Japan and so on, there was a certain magic to it, and I'd love to see that magic be recaptured or memorialized on a CD. So we'll see. As far as Twisted Sister goes, Dee is, like I said, not a wannabe. When they came to Heavy Montreal in 2014, I kid you not, people backstage, regardless of who they worked for or what part or how they were associated with the festival, were all like, ah ha ha, Twisted Sister, hair band, gonna be bad, gonna be blah, blah, blah. And then the band played, and those same people came to me and they said, "Holy Christ, Mitch, that was fantastic. That was wow." Listen, the band delivers live. Twisted Sister in 2014, 2015, and I'm hoping in 2016 is a live band that can deliver the goods. They will knock your socks off if you haven't seen them before. If you've seen them before, you know you're going to get your ass kicked when you show up at that festival or at that venue. So, listen, as an old time rock fan, I'm glad both bands exist. I'm glad they're still doing it. I'm glad we can still go to a show and enjoy those songs that we grew up on and that are part of our, being. They're part of our being, quite frankly. With that, I will end this episode. I will thank Dee Snider for calling in and giving me this opportunity to speak with him. And I will end it by this by saying I thank Paul Stanley for the great music over the years. And it is a shame that I haven't been able to interview him in my life. But so what? It is what it is. But to Gene, to Eric, to Tommy, to Ace, to Bruce, to Eric Carr, to Peter Chris, thank you for the years of music. And to Dee Snider and JJ and all the guys in Twisted Sister, thank you. Though the 1980s would not have been the 1980s without Twisted Sister. They really put that whole scene on the map, and we're not going to take it, and fighting at the PMRC and all that. So to all, thank you. And to the fans listening, hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am sure it is going to create some Twitter waves and some Facebook postings, but there you go. Check me out at Mitch Lafon on Twitter. The One-on-One with Mitch Lafon is part of the Talking Metal digital network, which includes Mark Striegel and his show Talking Metal. Thank you, folks, and thanks for listening. Bye now.